Hi, everybody. I can't wait for you to hear this interview. But before we get to that, please do us a favor and subscribe. It would really help us out. Now, let's get to that interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. Look who I'm talking to today, actor Thomas Jane. So, welcome, Thomas.
Hey, nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm a big fan I love the acting stuff, but I want to start with the comic book stuff.
All right.
Right. So back in the 90s, I was putting myself through college. I owned a couple of comic book stores.
Oh, right on.
So big fan. So you started Raw Studios. And you've got some really like my son is the one that actually turned me on to it, which I'm embarrassed that he caught it before I did. But he loves your comics, and they're really good stuff. And you do some writing for it.
Yeah, I did. I kind of learned how to writing the book Bad Planet. I hooked up with Steve Niles. Me and Steve cooked up Bad Planet, and I did most of the writing on that. I got to tell you that it suffered a little bit because of it, but the artwork is. I'm real proud of the art and the story is really fun. I had a blast, and just working with artists and writers and colorists and layout people, you really get a feel for me. That was really my sort of training ground to become a director, because you're working with different artists, and you're painting a world, and you're creating it and incorporating everybody else's ideas. It's really fun. I had a blast doing that.
Yeah. And you got to work with Tim Bradstreet, I think.
Tim was a partner in Raw. Yeah, Tim was instrumental in putting that book together. All the books we did. So
his work on the Punisher was pretty amazing, and I'm guessing that when you played the Punisher, a lot of that was based on some of his artwork.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's the reason why I actually turned the Punisher down a couple times, and then somebody showed me Tim Bradstreet's covers, and I thought, okay, this could be a movie. I get this.
Yeah, his art, it's so lifelike. I mean, it didn't look comic booky; it looked real life.
Yeah, that's the art that I gravitate to, that has a sense of reality to it, and Frazetta and Al Williamson and Mark Schultz and these kind of guys sort of, started that trend, which was then picked up by guys like Schultz. And that's the kind of work that I've always gravitated toward, a little bit leaning a little bit on the realist side. Although I like all kinds of different stuff. I did a comic called Dark Country with, who was Thomas Ott. Thomas Ott's an artist out of Europe, and he's got a fantastic style. He actually scratches, and most people, do pen and ink on a white paper. He takes a black piece of paper and scratches white into it. So you get this opposite effect. Very gorgeous. Look him up. But he's got a surreal kind of style that I really like. And I'm a real big fan of Basil Wolverton. He's got definitely a cartoonish style that really appeals to me. I've got a couple Wolverton originals around here.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, it's very nice. Has being around all these artists inspired you to draw at all?
I used to draw and wanted to be an comic artist when I was younger, but then I got into girls, and and that all went away. But I've always loved and appreciated the art form, especially illustration. And I've just been a big fan ever since.
Yeah, that's the reason the comic book stores closed. I got married. And it was a great living as a single college guy, but not the best, married, starting a family.
Yeah, got to grow up and figure out other stuff to do.
That's exactly right. So apparently I chose podcasting. I'm not sure that's the smartest route, but well.
You got to do something that you love as well. It's a balance.
That's right.
You got to pay the bills, but if you're doing something that's making you miserable, it's not going to last long. You got to get out,
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. So any chance that we get to see any of these comic stories, as a movie or a TV show at some point?
I got one more book in me. It's called The Lichen, and it's a werewolf story that takes place in the late 1700s. Ooh. About a group of hunters coming back from Africa. They get shipwrecked on this little island off the coast of England, and that island's being terrorized by a beast. And so they're like, hey, we'll fix your ship if you kill this beast. And they're like, all right, that's a good deal. That book has been written by Mike Carey, who's a wonderful writer of comics. And we are in the process of searching for an artist right now. I had a fantastic artist named Simon Colby, who used to work on the 2000 AD stuff. But Simon got busy, I guess. And so now I'm back to square one looking for another artist. It's actually a book that I've tried to put together a couple times, and I've always run into that problem of finding the right artist. It's not easy sometimes.
No, but I love the story. And I think,
the Lichen, to answer your question, would make a great movie. And we need some more werewolf movies. We don't get enough of those anymore. We need a good one,
Yeah,
they're tough. Most of them are not so good, but there's a couple good ones. I like The Howling, and of course an American Werewolf in London. That's a great movie.
Yeah, the 80s were a pretty decent time for
werewolves. Yeah, we need a good one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I was a big Howling fan. I always thought they did a really good job with the changing into a werewolf, especially for the time.
Classic.
Yeah, it was really good.
Strong, yeah, top notch stuff.
So I jumped ahead a little bit. I wanted to start with asking you, what made you want to become an actor? How'd you get into that?
Oh boy. I spent a lot of time after school building sets in high school, and I painted, built sets and all that. And I was always goofing off. And some of the guys on the carpentry crew kind of convinced me that I should audition for the play that we were building the sets for. And we had this elaborate hoax worked out where if I got a part in the play, then we'd do this whole thing where we'd collapse the set in the middle of the show, and it would be hilarious. But the more I rehearsed and the more I got into it, the less interested I was in pulling off this prank, and I wasn't actually doing the show, So I told the fellas, I go, hey, prank's off, man. We're not doing that. We're going to do this play. And that really kicked it off. Since then I knew what I wanted to do. I was like, all right, this is something I could do. I could dedicate my life to this, and I was young. I was 15. So I've always been grateful that I've known what I wanted to do from an early age. A lot of folks bounce around and they're not, it takes them a while to figure it out. But for me, it came early.
Yeah, that's pretty great and difficult, I think, to figure it out when you're young. Usually you think and then after about a decade you figure out that wasn't the right choice.
Right. The astronaut thing's not going to work out.
Time to try something else. So how do you choose your roles? Are you to the point now where you seek out certain roles, or is it just good material, good writing? Has that changed over the years?
Well, I guess I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where people send me stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm able to pick and choose what I feel like I could bring the most to, and do the best at, and have the most value. And that's, I look for good scripts. It's all comes down to the script and the story and a little bit about who's involved. Who
you want to work with. Yeah.
But mostly a good story, good script.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. We loved you on The Expanse. I knew going in the role wasn't going to be long term, really, because I'd read the books. So I knew, but I thought that absolutely best possible casting they could have done for that role. I thought you were perfect for it.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that. We had great sets and wonderful writers, and it was a really fun world that we got to create. And I came back in season 5 and directed an episode.
Oh, very nice.
That was really fun. I got to cut my teeth a little bit in television directing, and plan on doing a little more of that in the future, and also directing a couple of movies. It's I get a little older, I start thinking about getting behind the camera more.
Right. Is that easier or tougher?
Well, they're all challenges. I mean, it's tough, and everything's got their challenges for sure. The nice thing is you don't have to wake up and put your makeup on in the morning. I like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. None of that going on behind the camera.
But you work harder. You're on that job a year before you go into production and the year after. So you're sticking with a project for a lot longer.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Had you read any of the Expanse books going in?
They sent them to me when they were getting ready to fire that thing up. I was the first person they brought on board. They wanted.
Oh, really? Makes
somebody
sense.
Like me to come in and sort of flagship it, and so they send me the books and I read them and I thought this could be great. How are we going to do this? This is great. That's how that worked out. We started out at the Sci-Fi Channel, which was, everybody told me don't do that. That's where actors go to die. That's the Sci-Fi Channel. But the Sci-Fi Channel said we're trying to reinvent ourselves and we're going to put more money into this than we put into any other project.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, and it's a smart team. So in other words, we were going to be the best thing on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
And it worked out because then Amazon came along. It was Jeff Bezos's favorite show.
Really?
And so when Sci-Fi dropped us, Jeff picked it up just like that and said, come on over here and finish it up. So that was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad he did too, because it definitely needed a conclusion.
Yeah, and we got more money to play with, and we, and we were able to wrap it up in a real nice way.
Yeah, that's pretty great. So we had Ron Perlman on a couple years back, and he was talking a little bit about the short for the Punisher that you two did.
Okay, what did he say?
Well, he said that was some of the best work or most fun that he had working, and he wished that you guys could have done more of those.
Yeah, they were fun, and that was an idea I had sitting on my couch, and came up with the outline for what that might be, and got a couple of buddies of mine, Chad St. John and Phil Joannou and Adi Shankar, and we all got together and put it together. It's one of those things. I'm glad it worked out because I'm proud of that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Did you and Ron meet? Was it on the Mutant Chronicles, or did you know each other before?
That's a good question. Ron's one of those people where I can't really remember where the hell I met him. He's just a friend.
Yeah.
Buddies are like that. They come around and it feels like you've always known them, I suppose. But probably that's a good bet that I met him down there. Either that or down at San Diego Comic-Con one year. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he definitely makes the convention rounds.
Sometimes.
Yeah. He came. He wasn't in West Virginia, but I think right next to us, maybe Lexington, Kentucky, somewhere like that. Just the last few months. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Was he shooting down there?
I don't know. He'd finished up the was it Nightmare Alley?
Oh,
was the last thing. Yeah, he was working like when we interviewed him. He was quarantining in the hotel. Right. Where they were getting ready to film that one. And then
that was great. And then he also did Don't Look Up.
Oh, so right.
He was in 2 really good movies this year. Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah, he's a good actor. Good actor. So my son Brett, who handles all the tough stuff for the podcast. He does all the editing, and he's the tech guy.
He's the smart one.
He's a smart one, but he's a big Stephen King fan. So when I asked him about you, I thought for sure because we play that game where I go around to the family. I'm like, where do you know this person from? Right. And I was like, well, he'll say the Punisher because he's a comic book guy like me. No, he said the Mist.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah. Stephen King.
That one in 1922 we did for Netflix.
Oh, you know what? That's his favorite book.
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah. The novella. And it's really strong. Really good.
Yeah, he is. It's on my list. I haven't watched it yet, and he has been on me for years now to check that one out.
Oh no, it's a fun one. I think it's still up there. I think it was number 1 on Netflix for a while. And
he loves it. Stephen King's Silver Bullet was always a werewolf movie that I enjoyed when I was growing up.
Silver Bullet was good, yeah. And then didn't Bernie Wrightson do some of the art for? Was it that one? I know he did a werewolf thing with Stephen King. I think.
I think it was. Cause Bernie, talk about a good artist. Just amazing. I had a fellow podcaster just did a show around the Predator movie from 2018, and he was very jealous that I was having you on the show. He's like, I just talked about that one. I was like, hey, that's how it goes.
Yeah, that was Shane Black. He's just a hell of a talent, and of course, when he asked me to do it, I had to say yes because try to serve really, really the good ones. You try to serve the really talented directors out there. So we took a crack at it. We had fun. We had a really good time.
Yeah, I always enjoyed you back in the 90s, and I'm guessing you hadn't been at it for too long back then, but you did. You had a little spot on the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie, and
that was the 90s.
Yeah, Face Off. I think didn't you have a little thing in that?
I sure did. Yeah. John Woo. He was fun.
Yeah. Oh, and the Crow, City of Angels.
That's right. Yeah, they put me in these high-heeled boots, and I was dragging some guy down an old pier, and it was a set, but it was all rickety, and there were holes. The planks weren't put together, and I jammed my high heel in one of those holes and gave myself a hernia.
Oh no.
that haunted me for a year or two before I finally went in and had that operation, and they fixed me up. But
they meshed you up, huh?
They meshed me up. That was the gift. That was the gift of the Crow,
So I always show the pictures to my parents. They very rarely recognize anybody, but Dad said that's Mickey Mantle.
Hey, I like it. I like your dad. That's cool.
Yeah.
They put that one in the Baseball Hall of Fame about 10 years ago.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Flew out there to Coopersville, and we did the ceremony, and we went down into the bowels of the museum and saw all the stuff that's not on display, and we got the white gloves on, and you got to handle Babe Ruth's home run, 60th home run baseball, and
that's amazing.
Like that. Yeah, it was good.
Are you a baseball fan?
I really enjoy and appreciate the sport. I really appreciate the art and the science and the athleticism of baseball. Yeah.
Did you play sports growing up?
Play football.
Yeah. What was your position?
We didn't have a baseball team in high school, but we did have a football team, and I was on that for a couple of years. That was good. What
was your position?
I was a tight end, and I was one of the guards, right guard maybe. And I wasn't very big, but I was fast, and I had to, and my move was just cut the legs, go under them and cut the legs, and piss people off that way, because you get up against 250-pound guys, and you're constantly just quick.
Well, if you're quick,
zip under there and cut their legs. If I couldn't do that, I was dead. I was toast. They just bowl me over and keep going. But I did all right.
Yeah, that's pretty great. My son Brett, he played up till he was freshman in high school, and then he got a real bad concussion. Had to give that up.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, he was a lineman, and just had somebody come kind of up underneath him, caught him under the chin.
Yeah. I got a real bad neck injury playing, and they had to bring in the ambulance and haul me off the field, and I couldn't.
Oh, no.
They were wondering if I was going to be paralyzed.
That's scary.
I didn't break my neck though, thank God. But I was in bed for a couple of weeks there and taking these horse pills that were muscle relaxants, and it put me in a foul mood. I remember being mean to everybody.
Well, you probably didn't know if you were going to come out of that. That'd be scary.
Yeah. We kind of knew, a couple of weeks of bed rest, and then I had to do all the exercises to rebuild those muscles. It's a tough sport, I got to tell you.
Yeah. Even with all the precautions that they're taking now to kind of protect them a little better, it's still a good.
And then you wonder, when you take these precautions, is the sport the same?
It's not. I'll tell you that it's not. I mean, you know how it was that you and I are the same age, right? So I when I was growing up, that was part of the fun, was seeing somebody get their clock cleaned. You're watching it and you see Ronnie Lott or some of those guys just plow into somebody. And now
steel curtain.
Steel curtain. And now, it's changed. You don't have the kick returns like you used to. And it just, it's different. I'm sure it's safer. It's not quite as fun.
Yeah. It's times are changing, right? The world is certainly moving in a certain direction that I often wonder about.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite role, big or small, that you've been in over the years?
Well, like you already mentioned, Mantle. That was the most fun I had making a movie.
Yeah.
You wake up, you're making a movie, and then you're playing baseball all day.
Not terrible.
I got to train with Reggie Smith, who was the number 2 switch hitter behind Mantle for a long time. And baseball camp out here, and he was a phenomenal teacher. He used to give me a samurai sword, but he wouldn't even let me touch a bat. I had to stand on a 2x4 and swing a samurai sword, and he'd close his eyes and he could tell what I was doing wrong by the sound that the blade made.
Really? That's pretty old school.
He was special, and those times I'll never forget, and they shaped me as a man and as an artist, and we had a absolutely wonderful time making that movie.
That's pretty great.
Yogi Berra came out to set one day and visited. Whitey Ford came out and looked around.
Wow.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm a big baseball guy, so that was what I was going to ask, is did any of the ex-players show up while you were?
They certainly did. Yeah. And Yogi, we ended up having a little dinner with some guys, and Billy was there, and Yogi Berra, we're all going around. The waitress is taking everybody's drinks, and the waitress says to Yogi, what would you like? He's like, give me a scotch. How would you like that? Neat, but put some ice in it. True story.
I was going to ask you if, you hear all the stories about the little sayings that he have that kind of contradict each other. That's what I was going to ask you, and there you gave it to me.
Yeah, it just comes out of his mouth. It was funny. Can't tell if he planned that or if it just spontaneously, he goes, I'll take it neat, but put some ice in it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's if I had to, I couldn't act, but if I had to act, I think I'd want to be in a baseball movie. I could fake that.
They don't make too many of them anymore, do they?
No.
Wow.
Kevin Costner got older, they stopped making them.
Yeah, he made some good.
Now there was so many good ones. It's been a little while since we've had a really good baseball movie.
Robert Redford, he made that. The Natural.
Yeah, Natural's terrific.
Terrific. There's some real good ones out there. When they work, they work.
Yeah. I enjoyed the Field of Dreams game that they had a year or two ago where they actually did it in the cornfield where they filmed the movie, you know, made it into a, you know, they expanded it so they could actually play a major league game there. That was neat to watch.
That's
cool.
It's
pretty cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So, Thomas, what are you currently working on? What kind of projects do you have going on right now that we can kind of keep an eye out for?
Well, you should definitely keep an eye out for this show that I produced and starred in called Troppo.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that comes out on Amazon through the Freevee app. You know, you go to Amazon and there'll be a Freevee thing and you hit that. And we're the kind of the flagship show for this Freevee thing. And that takes place in Australia. I play this American cop living in Australia. He gets accused of a terrible crime, breaks up with his family. They're camping out on his lawn, taking photos of him, you know, one of those things. Just destroys his life, and he takes off to the butt end of Australia where it's hot and people go to hide, people go to die. He's going up there to kill himself and gets into trouble with this girl, Amanda, who's 20 something, shaved head, tattoos, spent 10 years in prison for killing her best friend. So you just couldn't imagine two people who were more opposites, and yet they need each other because they both been through, you know, some trauma, some terrible shit in their lives. And it's a character piece. It's a mystery thing. It's a good old mystery, you know, with dead people and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
that sounds great.
Yeah, the book is fantastic. So we launched it over in Australia a couple months ago, and it did real well. It did real well. So now we're bringing it over here. See how it goes.
Well, how did you get attached to that? Had you read the book or
they sent me it? Yeah, they sent me and my partner Courtney. It opened up this new production company called Renegade.
Yeah.
So we got Renegade, and we started tossing the net out there. And this book comes. One of the first things that comes to us is this Australian book by Candace Fox called Crimson Lake. And we just fell in love with it. You know, it's we love the characters, and it was right up our alley in terms of what we want to do. You know, our logo is a horse that's made of fire.
Nice.
So, you know, and you know, horses, the thing they fear the most is fire. So that kind of fit right in with the kind of characters that we're looking for. You know, this guy, he's a detective and he's damn good at it, and being good at his job is what got him in so much trouble. So that kind of thing was right up our alley. So we started shepherding that along. It took about a year, and then the pandemic hit. So then we were delayed 6 months, but we finally got out there and shot it up in Queensland, Australia. Beautiful place, crocodile.
Nice.
Everything they tell you is true. And that's the other thing cool about the show is it takes you into this exotic world that not a lot of people get to experience unless you're living up there. Right. They got spiders the size that if they were climb on your spider, you climb on your fist, you wouldn't be able to see it.
Yeah, I'm out.
They're that big. Yeah, it's snakes everywhere. We're shooting out there in the outback of Australia, and one of the crew members will go snake, and everybody will have to drop their shit and walk away until we can find the snake and get him on out of there so we can finish. You know, and then there's of course the crocodiles. You want to get near. I don't want to get. I can't believe these guys that run around chasing crocodiles. I see them on YouTube. I'm like, wow, you guys are brave.
I saw a guy in Florida that used a trash can he just kept bumping up against it till it went in the trash can, and then he just pushed him down, to the creek and let him loose.
Wow. So he knew what to do. He
knew, I guess. I hope he didn't just come do that on spur of the moment.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah. So did it help you with, kind of playing this role of a guy that's out of his element, being out of your element in Australia?
Oh yeah. There wasn't that all that was definitely part of the character. And I'm the only all the rest of the cast is Australian. I'm sort of the fish out of water. So that helped. That certainly did. That helped a lot. I had a good time. It was hard I was out there for 5 months. So
oh wow.
although I enjoyed it, you know, and the wildlife is spectacular, you know, I was ready to go home by the end of it.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you were. I'm sure you were. Did you have to help with, I mean, did you do any directing? Did you help with the casting, anything like that?
You know, as a producer, we're shepherding the story along. So I was working with the showrunner and the writers. And as we're developing the scripts, you know, we did 10 of them. So there's 10 shows. And so just as far as the pacing and the plotting and trying to make sure that you're capturing what's great about the book and you're making sure that gets into the show instead of going off on some weird tangent. And, you know, I think that that's a hard job, is protecting the material that fans love, right? They love the book over there. And so we felt an obligation to make sure that we got the essence of the book and made sure it got into the show. So that was my job as a producer. And then casting, you know, and we did some chemistry reads, and I found this terrific Australian actress to play Amanda, my partner. The 20-something crazy person. And so that was fun. It was all fun. Yeah.
That's pretty that's pretty great. I assume that since you've got some aspirations to get behind the camera that you would be involved in that, especially if you're producing.
Okay.
That's the beauty of Zoom.
Yeah, that was my maid. She's making noise over there. I was asking her to please be quiet.
Well, you tell her just to be as loud as she wants. We'll put up with it. Now that's pretty great. So that's one that I absolutely know my dad will really love, but there is no way that he'll ever find it. So I'm going to have to go over there and watch it with him, because if it's not on network TV, lost.
I see.
He's lost. So I got to go. And
that's a different world, huh?
Yeah,
I find it to be, once you get the hang of it, easier to use than
I agree.
Network. You know, it's a little bit of a learning curve. I have my daughter had to teach me how to use the Apple remote control, you know, and they give you this little tiny remote control and it's got one button on it. And I'm like, how the hell do you use this thing? My kid, she's 19. She helped me figure it out.
Yeah. Does she have any aspirations to act?
She sure does. We you know, she just turned into an actor overnight. We just did a movie together called Dig, D-I-G, Dig. And that comes out later on this year. Really fun. She played my daughter in the film, and she did a bang up job. Now she's off in New York making another movie.
Oh, that's terrific. Yeah, that's terrific.
Proud of her, you know, and she's good at it. She auditioned for the job. She didn't just get it handed to her. She auditioned and she got the part. The director called me and goes, "Hey, your kid can really act." I'm like, all right, here we go.
That had to be, as a dad, how great to get to work with your daughter, even for a short period of time.
Right. And it's a little time capsule too, you know, when I'm old, I can pop that on and see me and her when she was 18 at the time. And we can, I think that it's a little time capsule. It's very meaningful to me. You know, it's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, that's pretty great. What's the story for Dig?
This guy's got sort of an anger problem, and he's got a wife and a kid. And, she keeps sneaking out, going to parties, and I drive over there and grab her and throw her over my shoulder and throw her in the truck. And then I get into this altercation with another driver where I got an anger problem. And so that ends in disaster, where this guy pulls a gun, shoots my wife dead. And my daughter gets this sort of psychosomatic deafness from that experience. So she just hates me, you know. And then so it's a year later, and I'm trying to reconnect with her and having a miserable time doing that. And then because of my business, both of us end up getting kidnapped by these killers who want us to dig up a corpse that's underneath this house that's ready for demolition. I run a demolition crew, and so the house that we're demoing has bodies buried under it. So these bad guys show up and go, you're going to help us dig up these bodies, and so through that ordeal, we try to reconnect.
Story. And what an acting role for her. That does not sound like an easy role.
No, it's not. They threw her right into the deep end, not an easy role. And she did an excellent job with it. As a young actor, she's a lot better than I was when I was her age. Of course.
So a couple more, and then I know we gotta wrap up, but I should have asked you about the Expanse and the hairstyle that you had to wear.
Yeah, that was one of them choices that I kind of felt regretted after a while. I did like the half a shaved head. That was cool, but I didn't like all that hair coming down. That was I should have cut that. But funny thing about TV is you end up making a choice and then you shoot it for a day, and now you're stuck with it for the rest of the thing. Now it's too late because you got to match everything that you did before.
Yeah.
But other than that, I really like that character.
Well, when you went back for the later season, did you have to do it again, or did they like help you out with it?
No, they helped me out with it. We were able to change it for the other stuff.
Okay.
Toward the last season I was there, I was happy with what I was doing. Yeah. That first season was rough.
See, I just got the blank canvas, so they can do whatever they want up there.
That's right.
Throw anything they want up there.
They could put horns up there.
Yeah, whatever they want. So the last one, I got to ask you about Hung, because we loved it when it came out, and it was such a different show.
Yeah.
Than at the time what you got on HBO, especially. It was really good. So I wanted to ask you about that one before we wrap up.
Yeah, you bet.
Tell me a little bit about how that role came about and what interested you in the role, because I imagine an interesting pitch for a show.
It sure was, and I tried to get him to change that name over and over again. And there's another show I turned down. I turned it down without even reading it. My agent said, "Hey, there's this show HBO's called Hung." I go, "That's a fucking stupid title. Nobody's gonna watch that." It's can't you be a little more subtle? But they said, "Listen, Alexander Payne's directing it, and you ought to read it." And I read it, and it was great. I read the first couple of episodes, and it was great. I was like, God darn it, this is really good stuff. I can't turn it down. And I'm glad I didn't, because I got to work. Jane Addams was my partner on that, and all the actors that came in were just great. The writing was on a really strong level for most of it, and that was fun, And I don't get asked to do comedy as often as I think I should.
Yeah,
I really enjoy finding the humor in the dramatic situations, and that's what I really love. And so I had a great time. Not only that, we shot it 15 minutes from my house. We shot it at Paramount Studios, which is about a 15-minute drive down the hill. So that was fun, being able to go home every night. I had a great time on that show, I must say.
Yeah, it was a fun show. And you mentioned comedy. I did like your little spot on Arrested Development. I thought that was
that was fun. That was fun, and I hope I can find some other stuff where we can have some humor. I just don't get asked to do it very often.
Well, I've heard that you have your own company now. Maybe you could go find a script.
You said it. That's right. Renegade, the comic company. Yeah.
Do you prefer movie set, television set?
Well, I mean, I like shooting movies because it's got a beginning, middle, and an end, and you're in there for a month or two, and then you wrap it up and you're done. Yeah. I also like the economy of storytelling, that you put on a show, you watch it, and then it's done. 2 hours later, turn it off and you're like, that was pretty good. Or that sucked. I'm never watching that again. Well, you don't have to because it's over. And television has got its own advantages character-wise because you get to dig in a little deeper and see what the nooks and crannies of the character are and keep trying to make it deeper, and you got the time to do that, and that's fun. The downside of TV is I think even on great shows like Game of Thrones, it can get kind of boring. I mean, there's a lot of filler, it seemed to me. I remember watching Game of Thrones with my daughter, and she was real good at knowing when to look up when the good parts were, and then as soon as they were over, she'd go back down to her computer.
Yeah.
Thought, how do you do that? And there's a lot of filler in television, I found.
Do you think it's gotten any better since the seasons are mostly smaller now?
There are absolutely. The 8 to 10 episode model is a lot better. Best show I've seen lately is called White Lotus. If y'all haven't,
I love that show.
Really good, and that was one of the shows I was like, this doesn't have any filler. This is good.
It was really good.
Everything counts, everything counts. You couldn't chop 15 minutes out of this and get the same idea. You had to watch the whole thing. I like that.
Yeah. We used to call those filler episodes the character development episodes because it was always something unrelated to the story that you watched.
Unrelated. And then you're like, all right, they're just trying to fill up some time here. Next one. What's
this painting that you have behind you?
Oh, that's my buddy Todd Shore.
Yeah, it's pretty epic.
Yeah, it is.
I love that.
He was a friend, and he does some really good work with Todd.
Yeah, that's terrific. Yeah, I like that. Well, Thomas, thank you so much. This has been just you were a bucket list interview for me. I was really looking forward.
Oh, I'm happy to kick one of your buckets.
Now, I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, are you on social media? Where can we find you there? And if we want to learn more about Renegades, where do we find that?
Yeah, I think it's called Card Carrying Thomas Jane.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I did find you on there. That's
me. And we have a Renegade thing on Instagram. But, I'm not a real big advocate of social media. I think
Instagram is probably the best one.
Hey, Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, it's
with
probably
Instagram,
the best.
And, everything else is getting real twisted.
It's rough out there.
You won't find me on there. I'll go put up an interview, or I'll put up a show coming out or something like that. But people are, we're headed for some real interesting times here, pal.
Yeah, I know. We could do a whole show on that.
Yeah, we could, but we won't.
You're not on there posting what you're having for dinner or anything like that.
I just found I got much better, more interesting things to do. But hey, it's whatever floats your boat, I guess. Just don't.
When it first started, when all this social media first started, I thought it was such a great idea because it lets you connect with people that you hadn't talked to in years, or maybe family could share photos real easy, that type of thing. And boy, it went south quick.
Yeah, it got taken over by certain interests that are using, but that happens with everything. If somebody can weaponize it, they will. They figure out a way to turn it into a weapon. They'll do it. It's
that's a shame.
Part of human nature, and it needs to be, there needs to be some checks and balances in place. That's all.
Yeah, agree. All right, Thomas, hold on one second. Oh my gosh. Thomas Jane. I told him that he was definitely a bucket list interview for me. So happy I got to talk with him. He's been in so many terrific movies and TV shows that I enjoyed. I didn't ask him about Deep Blue Sea or The Thin Red Line. Loved him in both of those. He was in I think it was a mini series called Texas Rising. Enjoyed that. He had a little role in Boogie Nights. Just a terrific actor. And I meant to ask him about, I'll just have to have him back on. I meant to ask him about turning down the role of the comedian that went to Jeffrey Dean Morgan for Watchmen. Because Jeffrey Dean Morgan was really good, but Thomas would have been a terrific comedian. That would have been really good. Hope you guys enjoyed that, because I sure enjoyed the conversation. And just what a cool guy. I told him before we started that I didn't realize it was a pipe smoking type of interview. I didn't feel as cool as he was. So hope you guys enjoyed that. If you haven't done so yet, we could really use the help with our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod. If you could subscribe, that would really help us out. You can find closing in on 400 episodes now. I can't believe it. Audio and video versions on our website, meistercon.com. If we're doing anything in studio, if we're going on location, if we're covering a convention, it'll all be on there. And there's also a terrific, funny, geeky blog that Brett writes that you'll love. He's a terrific writer, all on the website, meistercon.com. So thank you guys so much. Until next time, bye, everybody.